Alright, good morning. This is Brian with A.B.E.L Locksmith. I am working on a 2005 Chevy Equinox. If you guys are familiar with these, it's kind of it seems like it's a mixture between it's a Chevy with a Saturn. The ignition cylinder style is a Saturn style ignition, and a few other things on here seem like it's very close to like the Saturn View. I'm just kind of guessing. So anyways, customer calls. Common with GM vehicles, ignition, stick the key in the ignition, quit turning on them. And very commonly it is the actual cylinder itself. Some of the wafers inside have jammed up, whether it's due to bending or warping or plugging or, I don't really know exactly what causes it, but they do. Anywhere from like the mid 90s to probably about this time, 2005-ish, you'll see it pretty commonly. Now, this particular one, and I've seen this quite a few times also, this is probably one of the original keys. And I mean, you can hopefully make that out if you see how thinned out that key is. I don't know what it is about, if it's just very frequently used, or I don't know. Sometimes I see them like this where they're difficult to decode because the actual cuts of the key are very worn down. This one wasn't too bad because it had some very good variances with the deep and the shallows. So go stick this key in. I mean, you can wiggle it, jiggle it, shiggle it, whatever you want to do. Schmiggle it. It just does not do nothing. We'll try it on the other side. It will unlock the door successfully. Now there's less wafers in the door for it to operate on, and it's not dealing with a sidebar in the door probably. So, brand new factory cut key on my, took me 2 tries to figure out those first 2 cuts on that other key. Looked like it was a 1, 2, 3 to me, but it ended up being a 1, 1, 2. Once I verified the key code with Instacode, I cut it on my Condor, my X-Horse Mini Condor, it's technically just automated machine, and brand new cuts. Like butter. So I'm thinking there's probably nothing wrong with this ignition at all. And again, it is very common for ignitions to go bad in General Motors vehicles. I don't typically see them around the 05 mark. It's typically anything below 2002 that it's more common to see actual ignition issues. In this particular ignition, the Saturn one, they do fail. I don't know that it's as common as your, say, Chevy Silverados and Suburbans, the style of ignition cylinder that's in those. So, this customer may not have any issues with this, until years and years from now. But at this point, there seems to be no flaws in the cylinder itself. It was really just that key. So Brian, A.B.E.L Locksmith, simple fix. If you run in this situation and you have your keys and you look at your key and it's like, it's all brass and very little silver on it, and your ignition stops turning, touch base with a locksmith, because 90% of locksmiths are going to have an ability to decode this key and cut a new factory key. Now, I will say, I wouldn't expect a locksmith to, don't bring the key to them and say, hey, cut me a factory key, and then go try and take it to your car and see if it works. It's not likely. Usually it takes at least 1 or 2 tries when the key's this worn down to make sure you get the exact same key. It really just depends on how much you want to go back and forth. When we're with the vehicle, do a service call and sit with the vehicle, we can kind of run through some different processes to get the key, because we make keys in lost key situations, so we know how to decode these locks and just really find out simply what the cuts are. But once you got it back to factory code, I'd definitely say try that method first before you go to replacing ignition cylinders or having your car towed. So again, Brian, A.B.E.L Locksmith, and I'm out. Have a good day.